Steve Gamache with a Chef Knives to Go quick look product video. This time we're looking at the Kohetsu Blue No. 2 Gyuto 240mm knife. And this particular line of knives from Mark Richmond has a core steel of Aogami or blue paper No. 2 reactive carbon steel. The heat treat rating is about 62 Rockwell on this, so a good mid hardness. And the construction is a stainless steel cladding over the top of that blue No. 2. This particular stainless steel, you can see, has kind of started developing a little bit of a stain to it, so I guess it's not super duper stainless. Maybe with some more cutting, but this is just some basic cutting. You can see we're getting a little bit of there, kind of a stain on that. So, but it's a great knife, so don't let that bother you. The core steel, you can kind of see that exposed right here. And I've got a patina going on that as well from cutting some ingredients. The weight on the knife is medium kind of weight, 208 grams, 7.3 ounces, and the blade length is right at 240, almost 9.5 inches. The overall length, 14.5 inches. The thickness of the spine, these are pretty thin blades. Way back up here over the chin heel area is about 2.36 and tapers down a little bit, and then pretty much holds its thinner taper, and it does a nice taper down, distal taper towards the tip where the grind is, kind of right in here towards the tip. The height on this blade is 49, which is right kind of in the midpoint for a good 240 height. And the handle's basic black packawood. There's nothing super special about it, but the fit and finish is well done. There's no big bumps or jumps here in the metal or the rivets. So it's a pretty plain handle. It's pretty big. I shouldn't say it's huge, but it's got some substantial size to it, and it's not super rounded. It's got a fairly blocky edges, so you get a nice grip that way, but it's definitely not a super tiny handle. So it's got some meat to it, and just basic, nothing fancy, but it really works well. The star of this knife is definitely the blade. You've got some screened kanji on it, tells you it's blue No. 2, and the balance point on this blade is like right here, where it meets the bolster, or the handle meets the blade. And the curve of the profile is pretty good all-around curve. It's got a fairly decent flat spot and gentle arc towards the tip area, tip third of the blade. Let's put it on our board. This is just kind of a classic all-around profile, not super duper flat, not super duper curvy, but it works well on the board. You don't slam into a heel. You kind of go in a gentle curve all the way to the back, and it just kind of stops very easily, so there's no big huge flat spot to slam into, and it's not super arced, but it's not a gigantic flat spot, as you can see. You've got pretty classic taper towards the front, and you can get fairly high in stuff before you start hitting the tip on this thing, so it does well over ingredients as well, slightly taller ones. It's just a good profile on the knife. The performance of this knife is very good. It's pretty sharp out of the box. I was impressed with the sharpness out of the box. It's got a nice polish on the edge, and it had some bite to it. I touched it up just a little bit on a strop, but it really does well. And again, the performance is quite good on the knife. You get a little bit of sticking with ingredients on the side because it's a thin blade and you've got a fairly flat side. There's no texture to it, but it drops the ingredients really well, not much wedging at all. And this one compared to the 210, the 210 is a fair amount thinner than this, especially towards the tip, even though this is pretty thin at the tip. And the 210 is a bit more of a laser style, but it's very much the little brother of this as far as shape goes, and behavior is just a little bit thinner, and it does have more of a laser type cutting ability to it. But this is a great all-around blade, and it's got good performance, very good performance. So there you have a nicely executed high-value blade, the Kohetsu Blue No. 2 Gyuto 240mm knife.